Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night, Mate to Mate at 8. My name is Craig Turton, your proud host, as I am each and every week. I'm the proud co-founder of 100 Words Mate to Mate, a men's health organisation raising awareness about men's mental health in today and trying to reduce the stigma related to men's health. Now, unfortunately, every day in this country, 6 men take their own life, which is absolutely horrendous. And 100 Words, we are trying to make the connection with men and get them feeling comfortable about the way they're talking. Now, the way in which we do that is this. We run a campaign called Mate to Mate at 8, and that's exactly what we're doing here tonight. Okay, so at 8 o'clock in the morning or at 8 o'clock at night, we want you, as part of your schedule and routine every day, is to ring one of your mates and ask them this. You don't ask them, "G'day, how you going?" You ask them this: "G'day, mate, how's your day been out of 10? Or, "G'day, mate, how's your week been out of 10? They will give you a number and you've got a much better idea on how your mate is going. Now, as you tune in, we're asking you how your day is out of 10. So fill in that as you log on, and we will go through those results a little bit later on. Now, at any stage tonight, if the conversation gets too uncomfortable for you and you feel uneasy, there is always a number to call. That number is 131114, and that is the number for Lifeline. Okay, someone will always be there to pick up the call. Now, we've had a few people log in. Now, we've got a few people at 8s. We've got some 6s and some 5s. So those guys here who are being very, very honest and jumped on and said they're a 5 or a 6, hopefully by the end of this, you, my friends, will be a lot higher than that because we've got a great guest for you tonight. Now, tonight, as I said, really good friend of mine, a gentleman by the name of Darin Compt. He's a really good friend, a fellow tradie, and that's probably why we get along so well. Now, he's done some amazing things. He's the founder of a special needs basketball academy, which is about 30 to 50 participants of young kids with special needs. He started this off his own bat with a good friend of his, Adam Tunzi, who's also a good friend of mine. And they funded this off their own bat, doing some amazing things for young kids in the basketball world that having a bit of a tough time and struggling with some special needs, and they've put this academy together. He's also the founder of an unbelievable organisation called No Filter Friday, and we're going to touch on that throughout the show. It's an unbelievable avenue for men in which to talk openly, and in 100 Words Mate to Mate, that's what we're all about. So tonight, all we're trying to do here tonight is mirror a conversation between two mates, and that's what we're about to do. And without further ado, good friend of mine, Mr. Darin Compt. How are you, Daz?
Good, thanks, Craig. How you doing?
Mate, how's your day been out of 10, my friend?
A good solid 8, to be honest, mate. It's been a great day. Everything's going well. Everyone's healthy. I'm happy. That'll do. What about you?
Mate, I've had a mixed bag today, to be honest. I was pretty good in the morning, and then I had a scenario this afternoon that didn't go the way I wanted it to, and I've bounced back after kids' footy training, so I'm probably sitting at about a 7. And I was probably got to about as low as a 4, but I've pepped back up, and I'm about a 7, mate. By the end of talking with you, I reckon I'll be about a 9.
All right. Well, that's a bit of pressure, but I'm sure we'll get there.
Mate, great to have you on tonight. Really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. Now, you're a fellow tradie, mate. You're a dad. You've got 3 kids. Mate, tell the world about you. Tell us all about you.
Okay. I think just as brief as I can, those that have tuned that will know me probably know I don't mind a bit of a chat, so I'll keep it brief and you might need to cut me off. Single dad, currently going through separation/divorce. 2 kids living full time with me, one 50% of the time. So life is hectic, Craig, hectic. I had a solid career in sales. I've reprogrammed my life to get back into my trade and everything so that I can have the flexibility to be there for the kids whenever I need. So from that perspective, it's awesome. I have a lot of flexibility to be the single dad looking after the kids. I know we spoke about this the other day. I've got a couple of life experiences. I've had Jack the Dancer a couple of times, in brackets, cancer. You know, I tend to find the positive in everything, Craig, and I know we've known each other a little bit now. You've been in, we've spoken and so forth, and you know some of my common friends, but, you know, you got to find the positive in everything, and I think my experiences we'll do that. I'm sure we'll touch on it.
Now, mate, you've also, as you say, you've suffered cancer twice. That's once when you were born, and once when you were not that long ago, when you were about 35.
Yeah, I was the first one. I don't remember, thank God, but I had cancer of the kidney when I think I was 6 weeks old, either 6 weeks or 6 months. I know I was the youngest kidney removal at that stage in Australia. I'm not sure whether I still am. And yeah, went through it again at 35, 36. I had thyroid cancer. I took my son for a checkup for a cold, and the doctor, Craig, just said, "Mate, what is that lump there?" And I said, "A double chin, could be a triple chin." And he said, "Definitely not, mate. You need to go now and get this sorted." Very lucky my sister worked with a throat surgeon, so there's irony for you. And I think 6 or 7 weeks in, the first half was removed, and another 6 or 7 weeks later, the other half was moved. So I have no thyroid. But I just take a tablet every day and cancer-free now for about 10 years.
Well, mate, that's amazing. Look, fair to say, your dossier as a man up until this stage, and you are, what are you, mid-40s?
Yeah, we'll go 40 plus number 6.
Okay, 40 plus number 6, yep. So as I said, early 40s. Mate, that's a lot to go through. It's a lot to go through personally, having the cancer, and then obviously with the kids, and we all know what that brings, the joys and the ups and downs that kids bring, but also the separation with your wife that you're currently going through. And that obviously led to you being involved in a single dads group that you found online.
Yeah.
Talk us through that, because I know that's led to a lot of the great stuff that you're doing now. Let's touch
on it. Craig, when it all happened, it was, even though it was my decision to leave and all of those things, it was very, very difficult, mate, because I didn't know what to do necessarily in the sense of organising meals and shopping, and that wasn't really my domain at that stage. And they were roles that we somewhat shared, but so I had to get my act together pretty quick. I wanted to do the best for my children and make sure they had everything they needed and so forth. So I was very hesitant for a while to join a dad's group, and I ended up joining one, not realising how big it was. It's got around about 20,000 members around the world. So
worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide. And amazed, I deliberately joined one that seemed to be on the other side of the world, so no one would judge me with the mistakes I was about to make. But as it turned out, there's so many Aussies in it that I'm talking to now. And I did a podcast with an American fella late last year, which was awesome. But I joined this to ask some common questions about what do you do here, what do you do there, what do you do there. And I found myself very quickly helping other people and realising, whilst my separation isn't ideal, so many people were so much worse off. But I was encouraged by men reaching out and asking questions. The tragedy of how No Filter Friday started, and it is a bit of a tragedy, is there was a fellow on there. I still get a little choked up talking about it, but there was a fellow on there, and he'd put a post up there that by the time we finished reading this post, he will have taken his own life.
Oh, wow.
And that was heavily based around, he wasn't able to see his children. He'd been through the courts. He'd tried counsellors. He tried everybody. This guy was based in the US, and that's fact. The next post I'd seen was, unfortunately, guys, it's too late. Ambulance has been called, and yeah, he passed. And then I thought, oh my God, someone's so much worse than me. And so I thought, how do I do this? And I have these crazy brainstorms, as we do as business owners in this world. And you will know this, is your brain goes into overdrive and you go into rescue mode, whether it's your business, your invoicing, your BAS, or helping a mate out, or whatever it is. And No Filter Friday was formed. Excuse my dog in the background. He's just doing his own thing. I'm not sure what he's doing. So let me relax. So I started No Filter Friday. I started speaking to some mates. I rang some people, said, how do we get this going? I spoke to people on this dad's forum overseas. I started recording podcasts like crazy. And I launched No Filter Friday, sent it out. First guy that contacted me was a guy I played cricket with. Lovely guy. I said, mate, whatever you need, I'm here to help you. Whatever you need, I'm here to help you, which was awesome. As it grew, Craig, over the next however long, but initially, let's call it 6 to 8 weeks, the amount of people that were coming to me anonymously, and that's the glory of No Filter Friday. You can speak to me on a chat. I have no idea who you are until you tell me who you are. So if you're worried about the whole, I don't want anyone to know who I am or I'm ashamed, that doesn't exist on No Filter Friday. So people started telling me, I know you, I don't want to tell you who I am. And if I can, I'd love to give you the first 3 examples that rock my world. The first one was a guy who I now speak to every Wednesday. And he said, I'm thinking about taking my own life. And I go, why? Craig, I thought this guy was the most got his shit together guy you've ever met in your life.
Yeah.
Why? He goes, I just can't cope. I have these thoughts. And we worked through this. We got him to be on Blue. And man, till today, the best thing that's ever happened to me, like that is my best accomplishment to date outside of family, is helping a mate who is now consistently talking to me. We just introduced, Rate Your Day with him. So we're using some of your tools and my tools. And he, I spoke to him this morning, and he rated his week a 9.
Wow, that's awesome.
So the other person was in the middle of thinking about leaving his wife and didn't know how to do it and all these things. And I don't give advice on how to do those things. I'm just here to listen to you, and then I'll put you forward to the correct professional. I'm not qualified in counselling and all of those sort of things. I'm just here to listen. The third guy, the hardest one, Craig, was it turned out to be someone I know as well, and he wanted to come out that he was homosexual. Didn't know how to do it. Was concerned about the circles we're in and all that sort of stuff, and we're still working every day. And it's been a while, and he hasn't been able to comfortably come out, but we're working. He's talking every week to me, which is great.
That's you. You're supplying an unbelievable service to men to be able to speak, without giving any details about themselves in regards to their personal selves, their names. But do you find, and I know I do, that when you ask the questions properly, guys will literally vomit information at you?
I spent a lot of time in sales over the years, running big teams and working for big companies as well. And I always try to encourage my staff, sales staff, is listen more than you speak. Yep. Ask questions that they've commented on, go back with what they've answered, and they'll spew up the information on you. And that's what they want to do. They just don't know how to get into that vehicle to get it out. Right. Let them talk. And it's awesome.
So mate, just go back with the dads group. So you initially, when you've got on, did you ever think that it would be as beneficial as it has been? And was it in trepidation that you jumped on?
I actually got on, to be honest, Craig, selfishly for me. I never thought for 1 second that I would be helping anyone else, because I was brand new to separation. How would I know what goes on? How can I give advice on that? And very quickly, I showed you a text the other day when we were chatting, and someone had, put up, I've just won custody of my children, and it had 1,000 likes. It had 280 comments in 7 minutes. This is a group of bond, and I'm sure there's the equivalent for women as well. This isn't just about men. Everyone, there's groups, talking groups. And I check it every day. I make sure I like their stuff every day. I don't comment too much unless I feel someone needs the comment, or they're reaching out. But there's hundreds of posts a day, hundreds, if not thousands a day. And it's a real good brotherhood, to be honest.
I can imagine the comfort in which guys talk in that scenario would be a lot of, hey, I'm thinking about leaving. I don't know how because I'm just shit scared about the road ahead and about how difficult it's going to be and all the pitfalls along the way. How beneficial is it for you when you jumped on, and now with No Filter Friday, to be able to give those guys some first-hand information on how it's going to be? And as you say, you can't talk to them like a counsellor, but at the same time, you're going through this shit each and every day, so you know how hard it is.
Yeah. For me, if someone comes to me and says that they're thinking about leaving, the first thing I say is go through counselling. Go engage yourself in a counsellor. Have you had that conversation with your partner? Go and see a counsellor. Get some professional advice. I will never encourage them to stay or leave. I'll encourage them to get some professional advice and speak to me in between if you need that person to speak to, because unfortunately with counselling sessions, you might get an hour a week. Well, there's a hell of a lot more hours before that next session. And I did marriage counselling 3 times, Craig, so it can be beneficial. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, a mate of mine said to me, dude, you don't know what you're in for. However hard you think it's going to be so much harder. And I brushed him off, Craig. I was like, come on, dude, don't be a hypochondriac, relax. In my mind, you know what, he knows, if he's tuned in now, he knows who he is. Oh my God, to the letter of the law. It's even worse than I think he thought it would be, sort of thing, but it's hard, but it's a long road. But please understand, there is a lot of people to help you on that road. You don't have to do it alone.
I think that's an important message, because I know quite a few guys that haven't gone about breaking up the right way. But I know if they had their time again, they would do it the right way, and they were just so scared about how it was going to be and how it was going to end and how it was going to affect the kids. And, obviously, depending on what age the kids are, it's a totally different ball game, kids being younger versus being in their mid-teens. And they, mid-teens these days are a hell of a lot wiser than I was when I was in my teens. I know that for sure. So the beauty of what you do and the beauty about all these support groups that men should be aware of is that through communication with each other and being open and honest, there is always someone that's been through what you're about to go through. They've walked that road already, and guys are happy to help. And we've had guys on this show that have, attempted to take their own life, and now all they want to do is give back. They just want to give back and help, because they don't want blokes to walk down the road that they've walked down. And that's pretty much what you're doing too, mate. It's really admirable what you're doing and putting yourself out there open and honestly. But that's where you get the gold and the information from blokes in which they feel comfortable in which to speak.
And I encourage anyone that's going through it and may even have advice for me, contact me through No Filter Friday, because I don't claim to know it all. It's a university degree, nearly, Craig, I wasn't searching for, but I'm going to come out of a messy one knowing a lot more and being able to help other people. And I will make somewhat, it a bit of a goal to continue to do this. No Filter Friday is my home to help people for free.
Now, how much going and becoming a single dad, I know we spoke about this, and this comes up pretty much every week, and even more so because of COVID, is structure. So it's going from in relationship to a single parent, and it's both ways, I know, is routine and structure. Now, you've told me about your diary and how it works. It's phenomenal what you can actually fit into a day or a week. If you are structured and routine, and without that, you'd be stuffed. Is that fair?
Mate, I have a timetable, and, I can only fit certain things in. I have my eldest son's an athlete. He goes to a full-time soccer school. He trains 9 times a week between school and his MPL side. I've got to get his food right, his food balanced. I get them up, I drop them to the train station, I drop him to the train station, I drop the other kids to school, I do my day's work, I don't eat lunch, I do all these things to make sure that I can get back to pick them up and get them home, make sure there's a snack here for them, get back to work for a couple of hours if I can physically fit it in, get back, start preparing dinner, and let me tell you, the hot pot or the crock pot or the whatever you want to, the slow cooker, man. Every single dad, as part of separation or divorce, he should receive one in the mail off the government. That'd be money well spent, because 95% of my meals get put in at 5:30 in the morning. And, you know, it's actually the best food I've ever had. Because of the nutritional value I've got to do for my eldest, it's really important. But my structure is perfect too. I allow 6 hours and 15 minutes sleep for myself a day. I have a 15-minute music session for myself allocated each day, where I'll pick up the guitar or jump on the piano, and I call that my yoga. There's not too much spare time. Even my partner Craig has allocated times when she can see me, so it's hilarious, man. But it works. If you don't have the structure, you don't know what you're capable of achieving.
But that's a learned behaviour, though, isn't it? As I said, everyone we've spoken to every week, we talk about three things: structure, routine, and communication.
Yeah.
All right. And as men, we're generally shit at all three.
Yeah.
Okay, until we're forced not to be. And there is skills that we need to get better at. And when we're forced to, clearly, you're a prime example, we are very much capable of getting it right.
Yeah. One thing I was very good at in sales was CRM, which is customer relationship management. I was very good at the structure with my clients. So I used that CRM system to make a template to fit everything in for what I had to do for the kids. And at the start, there was more than physically could fit in, like full-time work. It just doesn't fit in to my schedule.
Yeah.
Okay? So, you know, you got to do your book work at 10 o'clock at night. So I might allocate, once all the kids are down and they're happy, they're fed, their clothes are in the washing, that 10 to 11 is time to do book work. Well, that might not be in normal hours for most, but that's my life.
Yeah.
And I'm not unhappy about it, because I get to see my kids every day. So I wouldn't change it.
Now, mate, we talked about some really good tips for men going through separation and divorce. And one of the you've touched on was find a rock. Talk me through what you mean by that.
So you got to find someone that you can say, I'm going to tell them everything. I'm going to spew up on them with information, and I'm not going to tell them one fib. I'm not going to lead them up the garden path once. I'm going to take on constructive criticism. I'm prepared to be told when I'm wrong. So for me, that's my sister. All right? I promise you this, she's cried more times about my divorce than me. I promise you, without even speaking to her, it's not a conversation me and her would have. I know she feels more pain than me, because I get it off my chest, then she's got to deal with it, yeah? So you got to find a rock that you can do that. Now, I equally spew up on my mum and a couple of mates and my partner, but, you know, you've got to have one person that you're going to be unequivocally honest with, open with, and open to be criticised back and questioned.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to have, and that can be me via No Filter Friday. If you need a big brother to get through it, that's what No Filter Friday is for.
Yeah, I think that's really important, where you've got someone where you can be absolutely 100% honest with them and with yourself, because I think if you in that situation and you're holding anything back, you're just doing yourself a disservice. So to be able to have someone like No Filter Friday, or as you say, a rock in your life, that's a really important person to have. Yeah, mate, we talked the other day about some other ones. You said that you have to put yourself in the top three. One of your tips that you've had to do is put yourself in the top three.
Yeah. So look, I put myself as number 3, you know, because if you don't have a group where you allocate time for yourself, you can't look after the other people, you know, in that whole process. You have to put yourself now. Typically as men, you know, and if there's females watching this, they might think that I'm being sexist. I'm not. Men tend to put themselves very last, I find, in my dad conversations and all this, because they're trying to please everybody else first. On the other hand, I'd say mums tend to buy themselves the worst clothes to make sure dad and the kids have got the best of everything, but
Correct.
dad will put their own mental health or some time for themselves last. You can't. So work out what your top 3 priority is, you know, whether it's your kids first, your work second, and yourself third, or whether it's, you know, your kids, helping others, and then yourself. However you do it, you have to put yourself in the top 3, and you have to allocate time for yourself.
One of the points you made there, helping others, I know doing since 100 Words Mate to Mate started, it's changed my life in being able to help men that I come across. And I know with what you have done with the special needs kids, the Basketball Academy, and with No Filter Friday, the feeling that you get, I know I've seen it in your face, that the feeling you get with helping guys is huge. It's really important to you.
I think it's what helps me get through it.
Yeah.
Because I nearly don't have enough time to dwell on my problem. And I'm helping someone else. I allocate, 5 minutes a day. Doesn't sound like much, but 5 minutes a day to contact my No Filter Friday people with a text to say, how you doing?
Yeah.
Some will answer, some won't. The percentage is actually really good that replies. The percentage that ends up telling me who they are, so we can have a, g'day John, how you doing, Steve, type conversation. So there's a friendship out of it, is amazing. And the people that you can then engage with makes you feel better as a person, gives you something to look forward to. Same as, I don't have a special needs child. So when Adam and I hooked up and got this special needs going because a little girl with Down syndrome wanted to play basketball, and how can there be no basketball system for kids with special needs? We went to Parliament. I spent $500 on a lunch at Parliament because they promised me they were going to help me. That was rubbish. We went to NDIS. NDIS just wanted to know how they could clip the ticket. And then Adam and I said, well, let's just whack some cash in here and get this thing going. And then before we knew it, we had 20 kids with special needs with no experience on special needs kids. But let me tell you, the hugs these little kids can get you. And I think from memory, the photo I gave you was me and a little fella, Josh. He just showed his muscles every week. He'd come up and give us a hug when he shot his first basket. And it took 6 months for him to shoot his first basket ever. When he shot his first basket, there could have been 50,000 at the Mill Park Stadium because the roar was that much. Adults were crying, were hugging, were high-fiving. You can't get that.
No.
If you're struggling, my advice is help someone, and that might be helping yourself first.
That's a really good message. Help yourself, and then you can help others.
100%.
Really, really important message. And I think guys, if they took that advice and put themselves in the top 3, would definitely would spend more time doing that. Now, music, mate. I know music's a love of yours. So, you allocate certain time of the day to it, and you are a very good musician, although you will say otherwise. Tell us about how important that is to you and your mental health.
Extremely important for me. So I've probably written through my separation so far 50 songs.
Wow.
And of those 50 songs, they will never see the public light. I have a little black book, and it's just a way for me to get stuff out of my head. You and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I've written this little theme song for No Filter Friday, and man, like just 100 words sort of, I love the Mate at 8, and we put that into a song, and I know you're the only person in the world that's heard it, and that's probably as far as it'll ever go, because that's how I communicate. Writing songs, some people speak to people, some people do other stuff. Music's important for me. My daughter loves music. She's self-taught on piano. I play guitar and a little bit of piano, but you know what? Me and my daughter are teaching each other how to play piano. What a bond, and none of my kids are interested in guitar. I had no interest. My little fella last week when we were away, or the week before, picked up the guitar at Lake Eppalock and started strumming and said, can you teach me how to play an E chord? I'm like, what? music I'm huge on, saves the soul. You can
Yep.
be into religion, you can be into helping others, you can be into music. I leave it at the top with all of those. Music is really important to me.
Mate, you're right. I have heard that song that you did for us, and it got me quite emotional. And I would love for that to be released, but you and I will talk about that, and because that's your work, but I think it's brilliant. I really do.
Auto tune or something.
Say again?
Needs auto tune.
No, mate, I think it's great. The words are really, really powerful. Now, we talked about too, in fact, 100 Words and No Filter Friday, getting together and running jam sessions. Like, there's men's sheds for old tradies and those who want to play with the tools. And we think it's really important for anyone out there who, we're going to put out an expression of interest between the crew at No Filter Friday and 100 Words Mate to Mate about getting together when this whole COVID thing calmed down a little bit, and just guys who want to bring a guitar, we're going to try and have some guitars there on site, or just bring an instrument and just jam like you used to back in the day. I think that would be a really cool way of getting guys in an environment they're comfortable in. They can't do now for whatever reason, but if they could go somewhere once a month, once every 2 months, I think it'd be really cool for them.
We spoke about this, and it excites me because, I love guitar. I've played for about, I don't know, since I was 16, so like 10 years. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Well. But so just learning 4 chords, you can play around about 2,000 songs. Okay. Mm. And once you've got three chords, you can play maybe 500-600 songs. Once you've got 2 chords, you can probably play 30 or 40 songs. So if we can use that to someone who's just going through something and is looking for an outlet, maybe something they've never done before to occupy their brain, I'm more than happy to give up my time to once a month or once every 2 months, whatever gets agreed upon, to come there, teach people these basic chords, give them a little worksheet. I have some videos on YouTube and stuff that they can go and refer to, or they can ring me and ask me, or speak to me on No Filter Friday, because having something to go back and practice and something to get better at and something to complete is just mentally amazing to give you some achievement. It'll allow people to write music if they want to write music. It doesn't have to be on Billboard. You can write a song to get something out of your mind. Write a special note for your daughter, your son, write one for your ex-wife, or like whatever, to get the message across.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell us also about what you're doing with the comedy tour that you want to do, the Laugh Local.
I
think this is a great idea. I want in on this.
Laugh Local is my little project at the moment, and COVID's killed it for me for this year, which I'm shattered on. So what I want to do is host and run a comedy show where we get a local musician. It might be the 100 Words band yet, I'm not sure, but we get a local comedian, a local musician, and we take and we do something locally. One of the things we're looking at the moment is the South Morang Auditorium. It houses 300 to 500 people, which is awesome. And we've got prices back on Jamoan. We've got prices back on Dave Hughes, where we can get a mainline comedian. The goal of it all is to make people laugh and get the message out that there's help out there. No better way for me in my mind to get that message out there. We don't have to pay for a host. I'll be the host. I'm getting my message out there. It doesn't matter how you get your message out there, but Laugh It Up Local is going to be great fun. We're going to do one in Northeast, Southwest, and a huge amount of the proceeds there's running costs obviously and all this stuff, but a huge amount of the proceeds, we might be able to say, here's $1,000 for Lifeline, $1,000 for 100 Words, $1,000 for Beyond Blue, and let's donate some money to these foundations. Or, you might say, Daz, I've got 40 people want to join your guitar club. Yeah, you know what, Craig? From this show, we're going to buy 40 acoustic guitars for these guys, because whatever helps, man. Like whatever helps. And this might be run through No Filter Friday from a monetary point. We've talked about maybe using an avenue like 100 Words that's set up with all these correct things in the background. But making people laugh is very, very important. Some people say I'm funny. Actually, that's not true. I say I'm funny. But if we can get that message across, Craig, make people laugh, and just people leave and understand there's help out there, man, we've achieved.
Yeah. Mate, we've got a question here that says, how do we get in touch with No Filter Friday? Is it just on Fridays, or is it just for people going through divorce?
No, so it's for anybody that wants to get in contact with us via the website, so nofilterfriday.com.au. As soon as you go to the website, down the bottom, there's a little chat box, and you can speak to me anonymously. Typically, if I'm online, I'll say, how can I assist you? And that is me talking to you. If you come to me and you have a problem with drug addiction, I'll put you onto someone who has drug addiction experience that can do that. Now, that is my brother who's going to do that. My brother had one of the hardest battles with drug addiction and has come out the other side like a legend. And if I was being honest, I didn't think he was going to make it, Craig. So no better person to get advice from than someone that's been through it and still battles with the idea in your head every day. I'll be able to speak about separation, divorce, how to deal with cancer, how to deal with this, how to deal with that. He can speak about drug addiction. Your experience might be, you had a knee reconstruction. Well, let's put you onto someone we know within the group that has had a knee reconstruction and you're struggling with that because you think your footy career is over or something or whatever. That's how you get in contact with us, nofilterfriday.com.au. You can speak to us any day, but we say if you haven't got it out of your head by Friday, speak to us on Friday before you go into your weekend.
Good message, mate. Clear it up for the weekend. Start the week fresh. That's a really good message. Mate, I could speak to you for hours.
Yeah.
Mate, you're such a good man. You're doing such productive and positive things for men in the community. And you're an absolute saint, mate. Anyone who's jumped onto No Filter Friday will see how much work and effort you put in. I've seen it for myself. You're doing great stuff, mate. You're to be congratulated. I know you're personally going through a tough time at the moment. So to be able to give to others makes you a very, very special man. Well done.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Reach out if you need help to either us or 100 Words. Everyone's here to help.
Mate, thank you so much for your time tonight. I hope tomorrow's a cracker. I'll probably, might be down your neck of the woods tomorrow, so I'll call in.
Look forward to seeing you.
Mate, Daz, you're a star. Thanks very much, mate.
Good on you guys. Thank you for having me and best wishes.
Thank you, buddy. Mate, great chat with Daz there tonight. Man who's going through a fair bit himself. He's happy to help. Now, we know divorce and separation is a really, really hard thing, and when kids are involved and the family court, it's tough. Some of the stories that come across to me are horrendous, okay? They're really, really tough. But any guy watching this, you are not alone, okay? You need to know you are not alone. There is always someone to talk to, and you can ring us here at 100 Words Mate to Mate. You can ring me. Those who ring me already, keep ringing me, please, because I'm going to ring you. You can also get onto No Filter Friday and talk anonymously. It's a hard road. It's going to be a hard road. Having spoken to Darin and to other mates of mine, it's going to be a tough road, okay? But there's blokes out there that will help you through it, okay? I hope that was really, really helpful tonight. Now, as we do at the end of each and every show, we thank those who give so much of their time and effort to the crew at 100 Words Mate to Mate, and then no one gives more than Shelley Wood, who's an absolute star. From Splice Communications, she gives time, effort, and her love to the cause, and we love her for it. Thank you very much, Shell. To Matt Atkin and the team of Atlas Equipment Finance and 61 Finance, do a great amount for the team here at 100 Words, and thank you. And to my dear friend Brett Phillips, who runs the only nationwide tennis program called The First Serve, does a lot for the tennis community, does a lot for us here at 100 Words Mate to Mate. And on behalf of myself, Matt Walton, who's a great man, who's on the board of 100 Words and produces this show, myself and all the board, we hope that your week is a cracker. You take care of yourselves. I hope you have a 10 out of 10 week. I'll see you next Tuesday. See ya.